So for me, biomedical informatics is combining information technology and biological data to solve different problems within the field. We use different programming languages, machine learning models, and I think it goes deeper into analyzing specific sets of data, because we are focusing more on biological data, whereas maybe in computer science you're looking at it from a bigger scope, where biomedical informatics, it's more honed in on a specific area.
So when I first joined informatics, I learned that we use data to help make people's life easier. For instance, electronic health records. We're trying to parse through that record and trying to extract meaningful information from it. So you don't have to be a computer geek in order to be a biomedical informatics. As far as you have a basic understanding of Python and R and basic data exploratory analysis skills, you should be able to use your biological background.
Data is definitely, everywhere you go. I think what makes some biomedical informatics data, I guess, particularly interesting is the complexity of it. For example, if we're looking at electronic health records, a lot of that is something like a doctor typed in. It's a natural language as compared to finance, where it's one times numbers. And that's why I guess I find the data in this field particularly cool.
I see it integrating in the healthcare industry in a big way, particularly because it gives those insights into specifically how one disease works, specifically a genetic disease. If you're talking about cystic fibrosis, something like that, you can look at the specific genes that are affecting those who have the disease and develop a drug specific to it. So that the medical industry then has something besides just treating the symptoms to help recommend people.
I know for me personally, I had no coding background whatsoever before I came to college, so I was a little worried that I was going to be behind within this major because I really didn't know what I was doing. But I think it's important to note that you don't have to have intense background in computer technology to be able to come into this degree program, because that's what these professors are here for, is to teach you the basics on how to look at this data, how to analyze it, and what tools you're going to need to be able to do that.
I was kind of similar. I didn't really have much coding specific background, but I did want to know more about it, and I was very interested in that field. And so when I saw what this field entailed, I was very intrigued by it. And even though I didn't really learn Python in high school, I was very interested and wanted to learn more. So I would agree.
Definitely, yeah, I would agree. I didn't take any AP computer science courses that school offers. None of them, so I had no idea how to print Hello World, even in the freshman era of my undergrad. So you don't need to have any background in computing necessarily, but if you do have it, it's a plus side for sure. Yeah.
But I was about the opposite. I mean, I didn't take any AP computer science in high school really, but my first year and a half to 2 years here, I was in the informatics program, so I was mostly learning about programming and web development. The first part of my time here at the School of Informatics and Computing. So when I made the switch to bioinformatics, I had to take a lot of science classes to get that foundational knowledge of biology for the field,
I would say research was the first thing that brought me to IPY. I was initially at Bloomington studying molecular biology, and I got interested into bioinformatics, which is infusion of informatics and biology and computer science a little bit, so which was biomedical informatics practically. For me, it was mostly analyzing humans' data and finding what genes are causing mutation, what genes are causing onset of diseases. Currently, I'm working in Dr. Jenga's lab. I have in the past analyzed 6 cancer cell lines transcriptome-wide Currently, I'm working with 2 leukemia cell lines, trying to see what common genes are seen between those two, and trying to do further analysis on that and trying to learn more. So I did an internship in high school under Project Seed, and I was trying to figure out whether I liked dry lab or wet lab, right? Whether I like working under the hood in the experimental lab, or do I like working as a dry lab on computers?
I have a little bit of a similar, I guess, mindset there. When I first came to IUPU, I was taking, like I said, a lot of web development, a lot of programming classes. And, obviously all the undergraduates have to go through their general eds, like writing, English, all that. And I took my, I guess, science courses, and that was what got me back into science. And I'll say the other reason I was very interested in it was, the medical aspect of it. This field makes real change for a lot of people. I grew up with a distinct, I guess, understanding of how important health is to people. And so I guess that settled it for me. I was very interested in joining a major that combined 2 things I was, I guess, very passionate about. And I was very interested in joining a field that, I guess, actually, makes a difference in the medical field.
I remember I first found out specifically one example of what biomedical informatics can do for someone or for many people was when I found out how one researcher found the specific gene that causes, or I should say gene mutation that causes cystic fibrosis. And because of that finding, other researchers were able to come up with drugs that would treat that specific gene and start treatment for someone with cystic fibrosis so that their life expectancy was improved by 10, 20 years, whereas before if your life expectancy was very short. And so when I saw how it was mostly just one guy who discovered this gene, I was like, wow, that's really cool. He's in his own world on his computer doing all this research, and he was still able to come up with basically an indirect cure, or not cure, but some sort of remedy. And so when I saw that, I was like, if I can do that, not just for cystic fibrosis, but as cliche as it might sound, you could start working towards your way for a cure for cancer or a cure for any other number of genetic diseases. So that was kind of my realization point.
I'm in the pre-med track of biomedical informatics, and I think I'm the first going to be graduate of pre-medical. So my degree is specifically my degree map is being evolving a lot because we're incorporating pre-med classes to it. But I think the way it's laid out, everybody gets to learn programming at the equal stage, regardless of your super non-programming background or programming background. Everybody would get chance to learn, and that's what we do in the first year, right? And we all spend a lot of time learning the basics and try to build our foundations before we start getting introduced to packages, right? When we start doing all the fancy machine learning stuff or using arrays to do further analysis.
I would say, for me, my favorite part of the course map so far was specifically at the end of I want to say second semester freshman year. So I'd been in college not even a year yet, and I remember at the very end of one of my courses, we worked on this problem that was real world. And up until that point, kind of in high school and even a little bit first semester freshman year, a lot of your knowledge is theoretical, and you don't really see how it applies to the real world yet. And I wasn't really expecting to do any of that until later, like junior, senior year, where I might get an internship or actually do some research. But I remember being in this one class, and we were actually doing real world analysis on data sets that were used by other professionals in the field. And I just thought that was so cool, because here I am, a freshman in college, and we're already working on this kind of stuff. And I had just learned Python, 2 months ago.
I also really liked how, like, this program is still like kind of small, so we've gotten to go through the program together, like with the same students, and it's nice to be able to like have friends in your major and get to like go through this program together and really use each other as resources within these classes, because there's going to be times where you don't really know what's going on or you're not getting the concepts, and to be able to have like that closeness with your peers in these classes for them to be able to help you has been, I think, a really good resource to have.
A little bit after I started the program, I did the LHSI program at IUPUI, and I interned at IU Health. It was very, very cool, I guess, to see, how bioinformatics actually impacts the health industry, and it was very, very cool to, help solve problems in a field with the skills I learned at IUPUI. Yeah.